I'm so proud of you. um, Today we got is the Drake featured Dead Now, and for the thumbnail, I seen Rihanna and Ice Spice. Um, Rumor is Ice Spice didn't let Drake hit, so he unfollowed her and basically dumped her back off the Bronx. I don't know how true that is. You know what I'm saying? I guess she wasn't feeling him. Um, That's crazy, but the only way we could find out is by getting into this video. I definitely want to know why they got Rihanna in the thumbnail.
What's poppin', y'all? Drake has rapped and sung his way to the top of the Billboard
That's a
charts
fact.
so many times that they even awarded him as Billboard Artist of the Decade. He earned this award for record breaking hit songs that he dropped in the 2010s, which consisted of 9 number 1 albums, 45 top 10 singles, and 232 Billboard Hot 100 entries. And Drake became the third to ever receive this award. First was Mariah Carey, who won it for her
I
reign in the 90s.
honestly feel like that was the best time of Drake. Like I'm talking like Marvin's Room. What else? What else? Sweeter Man. What else? Let me think. Over My Dead Body. Like I feel like all that was just the classic Drake.
Then it was Eminem for chart domination in the 2000s, and now Drake. Good company. When Drake gave his acceptance speech, he dedicated the achievement to his son, Adonis, who was by his side as he proclaimed, I want to dedicate this award to my friends. I want to dedicate this award to my longtime collaborators. I want to dedicate this award to all my peers. All your decisions and the music you make really does have me tossing and turning at night, trying to figure out what I should do next. Thank you to my beautiful family. Out of Drake's 232 Hot 100 entries in the 2000s, there were quite a few of those hit songs that weren't his tracks to begin with. But the fact of the matter is, they all benefited from having a star power associated with them. Migos leveled up even higher
There you
after
go.
Drake remixed Versace in
Oh.
2013. Then, the singer I Love McConan went from low key buzzing to poppin' after Drake made his own version of Tuesday in 2014. So, we're going to cover the majority of Drake's features and see if the stimulus package still holds up to this day like it did once upon a time. What's My Name, Rihanna featuring Drake back in 2010. They were already both
Oh
relatively
nah
popular.
nah.
Rihanna
Oh, what's
most
my
likely
name?
more popular than Drake at this point, if not neck and neck. But when Rihanna and Drake got together for her album Loud, because of this romantic chemistry and tension that was between them publicly with Drake's playful flirting, the question began to rise whether or not they were actually dating. Even though this wasn't a Drake song, it still got the ball rolling towards his Artist of the Decade stats when it became Drake's first number 1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. Will we say that he was the main contributing factor to make this a number 1? At this point in time, I don't think so. However, when you go to Tony Montana, the Future song featuring Drake in April of 2011, which marks over a decade that he's been collaborating with Future, we start to look at it a different way. It's hard to think of a time when Future wasn't as widely recognized within hip hop and music as he is now. Really, you could consider this the peak of his career. But when he released Tony Montana, a song named after the famous
Tony
character in the movie
Montana.
Scarface, it became much more than a local record. Toronto's biggest rapper Drake jumped on the song and helped secure Future as a mainstream artist. Future told Karmaloop TV, he just felt the movement from my 1000 mixtape on out. He was like, man, I'm listening to all your mixtapes. Right now, I'm listening to your Dirty Sprite mixtape. Man, I love how you switch your flows up on every song. You might be rapping, and then you might start singing in your hook. You've got melody. How do you come up with your patterns? The patterns you choose is so different. But that's what I do. Every song I switch up for a reason, to show the diversity. Then there was I'm On One. This was the classic DJ Khaled
Fucking
era.
I'm on one.
2011,
Hit 'em
Drake,
up.
Ross, Wayne. If there are 3 hip hop artists that Drake
Rose.
has proven to have great chemistry with in the studio besides Future, it's Khaled, Ross, and Wayne. And when the song I'm On One came towards Drake, this gave him an opportunity to shine with all 3 of his frequent collaborators. Not only does Drake get his point across, addressing some of his favorite topics, money and fame, he also serves up the hook, creating a top 10 hit in the process. And this song is very memorable. I would consider Drake's verse on this to be the most memorable out of all of them. And he was in great company. Keep in mind, Rick Ross was scorching hot at this time. Wayne
Facts.
was still really hot. And amongst these guys being relatively fresh into the game, just 2 years after your debut, we could say he gave Khaled the stimulus on here. In 2011, The Weeknd took his more dark emo sound into a new direction as the rising.
Yo, I got a question for y'all. Is that true that The Weeknd don't fuck with Drake? I seen like
made room on the
I seen like a video. I ain't watch it, but I seen like the title was that The Weeknd don't fuck with Drake.
zone for fellow Toronto artist Drake for the mixtape Thursday. This was an early opportunity to see The Weeknd's XO camp play hardball a little bit with Drake's OVO brand. Went on to become a platinum single. Drake did a lot more than just put The Weeknd on a song. He also took him on tour, contributed a lot to his early fan base. We could say Drake gave The Weeknd the stimulus package. He just didn't end up signing to OVO. However, we also need to point out that The Weeknd contributed a lot to Drake's most memorable album in many of his fans' eyes, Take Care. We don't know exactly how much he wrote, how much he contributed, but people were saying as much, if not more than half of it.
He wrote that?
Then there's Versace.
I didn't know that.
Featuring Drake in June of 2013. While the Migos were building up their buzz in Atlanta, strip clubs, all of that,
I'm going to keep saying this until my last days. 2013 and 2016, like, was the best time for music. Like, nothing that was coming out was trash. Like, around the early 2010s, I think that's when, like, music was just golden.
Just club scene in general. And then digitally to a stellar level, their first single, Versace, couldn't have had a better remix opportunity than to have Drake hop on it. Not only did the trio end up with a big hit song, but their success was front page news, going on to become one of the biggest groups of their era, one of the biggest groups of all time. So this was really a big look from Drake, considering he took a little bit of the Migos flow, which is a sauce that they had, which is something that we've seen Drake do when he gives his stimulus package. There's something that the artist has that he wants to borrow a bit from, and in return, he elevates them to a new level, and Versace definitely elevated Migos to stardom. There was Over Here with Party Next Door in July of 2013. So Drake at this point was putting together his OVO Sound record label. And the Canadian singer-songwriter Party Next Door became a pivotal piece to the puzzle as the first artist to get really the red carpet treatment, at least initially, as OVO rolled out his album with distribution through Warner. After the party song Make a Mill was released on Drake's blog hours after the announcement of Party Next Door getting signed, it would take the muscle of the song Over Here with a guest verse from Drake to propel the new signee towards household name, at least within the R&B somewhat hip-hop sphere. And then from then on, he had another big run, I would say, with PND 2. And from there, we kind of saw things wane down a bit. But Drake definitely brought Party Next Door to us. We can't deny that in any capacity.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
There was Who Do You Love? YG featuring Drake in February of 2014. One of the big breakout hits of 2014. I wouldn't say jump-started the career because he already had a hit, but it definitely elevated him to another level. When Drake joined him on the song Who Do You Love, produced by none other than DJ Mustard. They had their own sauce at this time. Drake wanted a piece of it, and in return, you would give him a little bit of stardom. And this was YG's debut album. So Drake attached his mainstream audience to YG's West Coast gangster rap following, made the song and album more talked about, especially alongside a guest roster on that album with multiple A-listers from Nicki Minaj to Lil Wayne and Kendrick Lamar, who was just becoming a star at that point in time. Then there's Tuesday, I Love McConan in November of 2014. McConan was really a nobody before this, other than dropping some SoundCloud song. He was known as a producer.
Yo, they say Drake stopped fucking with him because he was gay. Something like that.
In the Atlanta scene. However, when this song started to take off, Drake picked up on it, made the remix, and then it was just out of here. He also signed him to OVO, Unfortunately, he got dropped relatively soon after, or just forgotten about. But this song went up to number 12 on the Billboard charts in 2014. Nowadays, you just debut very high on the charts because it got a lot of hype first week, and then it falls off because it isn't able to retain the fans' attention and them continuing to play it. This song was played consistently. It was originally called Club Going Up on a Tuesday, but they switched it up. Drake, absolutely huge stimulus package given to Isle of Makonnen. There was Sweet Man, which was Ram Riddle's song in July of 2015. This is an
Harder than
example
the
of an
six and
artist
the
that I don't think
sun
really
with
got the
that
Drake
ass,
stimulus
and
package
girl,
as
I
much
know
as
you
got his
want it.
sauce taken and ran with.
What do you
Ram Riddle
say? She's a spice, right pipe like Yoko Ono.
had a song that was buzzing. He's a Mississauga artist. It was buzzing. It was called Sweeter Man. He had his own sauce. He had his producer. I believe Yegan was his main producer. They had this kind of island flow. It was tropical. He had his own flow, everything, production, and Drake wanted to get some of it. And instead of actually either signing him or doing a remix of his song, giving him the stimulus package, Drake really just took that and ran with it. And in an interview with The Fader, he said, it's just literally, I've recognized the potential and greatness in this piece, and I want to take my stab at it too. So other than the Drake actual stands that knew Ram Riddles, he didn't really benefit too much from this. Or some could say he didn't capitalize on it hard enough. It's up to you to say, but this wasn't an official remix like many of these other songs were, and Drake didn't put him out there like he did even a Makonnen. Then there was Work, of course. 2016. Who can't say that this was a massive hit? Not only was this written by Party Next Door, as we would later figure out on the reference track, but Drake just added his sauce to it. Rihanna was already a superstar at this point. Drake contributed, but I wouldn't say this was a stimulus package. This is Drake just doing maintenance.
No cap. That song, when it came out, was played like non-stop.
No Shopping, though, by French Montana, July 2016. Drake continued. He's a frequent collaborator with French Montana. Earlier on, they were basically, I call them the DJ Khaled camp a little bit. They chill with DJ Khaled. They're in DJ Khaled's inner circle, and all those people mingle amongst each other. No Shopping was a hit, largely because of Drake. This had subliminal shots taken at Joe Budden, as a matter of fact, who made it clear that he wanted smoke with Drake after dropping multiple disses. People were saying he was just trying too hard, although Joe Budden was he was killing Drake on those disses. I'm not going to lie. But this track went platinum, did its numbers. So I believe this was a stimulus package that was handed to French Montana, because prior to this, French Montana had a couple of his own hits.
Yeah.
Maybe not solo hits, but him as the lead artist.
Nah, you funny for that.
This was his biggest hit at that point in time.
It's not solo
Then
hits,
there's For Free,
you know
2016, DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled was going crazy during this year. This was his Snapchat year. Views was coming out, and then he joined Drake for Free. This was another hit. I think it's multi-platinum by now. It's a recognizable song. We know it. Drake constantly giving DJ Khaled alley-oops. Then there was WizKid, which I think was very important. This is March 2017. Keep in mind, Drake had already put WizKid on One Dance. This is where Afrobeat,
what's crazy is I knew WizKid music, but I didn't remember him until like recently with the whole shit with Tim's, and then it all started clicking. I'm like, yo, he was out since then.
Like was beginning to take off. Drake was messing with them a lot more. One Dance came out in 2016, if I recall correctly. But he decided to hop on a WizKid track. And I think this cemented WizKid as someone that should be paid attention to within America. Do I think he's very popular here? Within America, it's a difficult question to answer. It would probably take...
I'm just glad when it comes to like WizKid, like all of them is popping off. Good time. WizKid, Burna Boy, Tim's, Davido, like I'm just glad like all of them, as far as that goes, just popping off.
Take me an hour to answer that question, honestly. But he's a very well-known name. Seeing someone once, for instance, you're like, okay, I saw him once. For example, Popcorn. We saw him on Drake's album Views, I think.
Hmm?
And then we didn't really see him work with him again. But WizKid working with him twice, now you're like, okay, I should pay attention to this person. It just wasn't a one-time thing. Look Alive in March of
Popcorn
2018.
already
This
had his
must
own
have
like
been
own
the
vibe. Like,
biggest blessing that Drake has ever bestowed on any other artist, perhaps other than I Love McConan. I think this was the biggest stimulus package. Block Boy JB allegedly had a buzz going on in Memphis during that time. He had his dance. He had his own sauce. I'm not going to lie. He had his own sound. It sucked.
Ooh.
And I said it sucked back then. But he apparently had enough for Drake to want to hop on a song with him. This more so felt like Drake's song, just slightly featuring Block Boy. But this came out number 45 on Billboard Hot
Yo,
100, I
yo,
believe.
yo, what's funny about that is like people say like Drake will hear a song and then next thing you know he hops on it, now it's his song.
That's where it debuted. I think it stayed top 10, but this is a long-term hit. This is one of those songs that people never forget. And it's so much, it helped Block Boy JB so much so that he completely fell
Definitely.
off after it, soon after, after the steam ran out. And recently he was just on Instagram looking at the streams, reminiscing when he worked with Drake and saying, hey, maybe it's time for another one. I don't think it's time for another one. Unfortunate for Block Boy JB. I don't think Drake will ever hop on another track with Block Boy JB unless he somehow, by the grace of God,
Gets a hit.
gets a hit, which I don't see happening because, like I said, Block Boy JB was never really good at music. But this was
Damn.
definitely an
You
example
shit
that
on
we
him
all have
like
to
that.
look at. That Drake gave him a huge look to be able to get a lot of money for the couple of, I would say the year. Let me not say couple of years. The year that he was hot after this.
You funny as you funny as hell for that.
Yes, indeed, with Lil Baby in that same year in 2018. He also had a song with Lil Baby and Gunna called Never Recover in that same year. But Yes, indeed is where I would say Drake helped Lil Baby and propelled him to the mainstream. Before that, Lil Baby had freestyle. He had like a couple of tapes, and he was known within hip hop, especially within street hip hop, that was starting to pick up steam again towards the end of 2018 while the SoundCloud era was dying. But what really made him be paid attention to was Yes Indeed. And that was largely assisted with the Drake
I
feature. I'm pretty
mean,
sure that went top.
you said SoundCloud every day. I don't know. I still fuck with SoundCloud. People try to shit on SoundCloud and make it seem like it gotta be some age to it. Like, oh well, SoundCloud is some old shit. I still fuck with SoundCloud, bro.
5, if not peaking at number 4 on the Hot 100. So he definitely gave a stimulus package with that one to Lil Baby, helped him get to the mainstream. Then there was a song that I predicted 6 months
Bad
before it
Bunny.
actually happened, which was the Bad Bunny song with Drake, Mia. The Puerto Rican star had been growing to big heights during that year. Latin trap as a whole, reggaeton, more so
I don't
Latin
think I
trap
never
during that
heard
year
one
of
song from
2018
Bad
was
Bunny.
making waves within
I
the
recommend
United
some
States.
songs, some
And this
good
was
songs
a
from
big
Bad Bunny.
opportunity. Cardi B had also worked with Ozuna, I think. This was a big opportunity for a big star like Drake to hop on this wave and also help make him more known to English speakers within America that weren't bilingual or weren't friends with people that were bilingual in Spanish. This song was a major hit. I think it's got maybe over 1 billion views on YouTube
Damn,
now. More an international hit. Global hit? No. Internationally, yes,
billion
definitely.
views.
Then there was Going Bad, which in assistance to the injustice that Meek Mill had to go through, being locked up, and not just being locked up for violating his probation, but the actual corruption that was going on with the judge of Meek Mill's case. He came out after the beef, so he was already in good favor because of that injustice. And Drake decided to give him the stimulus package and lift his career from the coffin in which he had put him after their beef in 2015 with Going Bad. Going Bad, if I'm not mistaken, has more than half the streams of the complete album Championships that dropped alongside it. It was his return to
Yeah,
form.
cause when Drake killed Meek Mill, fucking Meek Mill turned into Martin Luther King. I ain't gonna lie. Son started preaching.
Drake did his thing on it. Meek Mill did his thing on it. They always work together well. But this song, it was Drake saying, I buried you, now I'm going to dig you up, out, and I'm going to propel you back to the top, which is exactly what he did.
He
This was
did
a
bury
stimulus
him.
package if I've ever seen one. I don't think we can disagree with that. Life is Good Future featuring Drake. Future at this point, they had worked together on a mixtape or album, whatever you want to call it. What was that album even called? I forgot. I remember they had Digital Dash on it. This stuff just escapes me at the top of my head when I start to think about it. Damn, I totally forgot. Whatever. Y'all know what album I'm talking about. It's the one with all the diamonds on the cover. It also had diamonds dancing on it.
Oh, I think I know
Life
what
is
you're talking
Good.
about. I know what you're talking about. I
January
know what he's talking
2020.
about.
This
I know
became
what
like a
you're talking
pandemic
about.
hit. They recorded a music video for it, which it felt like was inescapable if you were on YouTube at all during 2020. It was a great music video, to be fair. And it got
Definitely
to
know what
number
you're
2.
talking about.
Unfortunately, it was blocked from actually going number 1. But this song became the song of 2020. It was a consistent hit. People are still listening to it. It's just a great song overall and a
And
long-lasting
then
song to that.
COVID hit.
Then there's Young Blue, Your Mind Still.
Fuck that
Let's be
nigga,
honest here.
'cause your
The majority
mind
of us had
still-
absolutely no idea who Young Blue was. Well, I had heard the name Young Blue, but the majority of people who know about this song had no idea who Young Blue was before Drake.
What happened to
Young Blue himself even said how life-changing this Drake feature was. I think he, more than anyone else, has spoken about how great the stimulus package was for him, how it changed his life, how much money he started getting after, what the checks were looking like, how people started treating him, etc. And this was another pandemic song that went crazy. Young Blue is doing well now. Has he had a hit since? Not really, although he did most recently drop a song with Nicki Minaj with the music video that it seems to be the next song that they're going to try to push. But for an Alabama artist, this was as big as it
from
gets
Alabama?
for Young Blue. Then Draco the Ruler, who was locked up for a while,
Rest in peace,
eventually
Draco the
was able
Ruler.
to get released. Unfortunately, he passed away. He was stabbed during, was it the Smokers Club? I don't want to put the wrong name on it, but it was some festival that was going on in LA, and he got stabbed and killed. But Drake decided to throw him a feature on the song Talk to Me. I don't know if Draco the Ruler was signed at this point in time. This was February 2021. This song didn't really make much noise. I think only Draco the Ruler fans really even heard of it. It's got over 23 million streams now, which, is it that high for a song that's been out for a year plus with Drake on it, and for an artist that unfortunately passed away, so his streams would go up after him passing away?
Of course, that's happens.
I think this was an attempt at Drake just trying to lob someone up who he had respect for, and also wanted the respect of people that like Draco the Ruler. And wouldn't
It's all
consider this a
business.
stimulus package because, hey, this guy didn't turn into a star afterwards. And he had some time where he was alive after this song released. There's Over the Top, Smiley with Drake, and this was July 2021. Smiley is probably the worst rapper to come out in the past
Yo, he
year
throwing
and a
straight
half.
shots.
This
in
song goes
video.
hard, not because of Smiley though. But this song is catchy. I enjoyed this song. This song did great numbers. It
I don't
was
think I heard it.
charting. Smiley was a nobody before this. He's still
he
a
throwing
nobody
straight
after this,
shots,
musically
bro.
speaking. He would release a project after this that I think sold like 1.5K first week, maybe even less. And that's including the streams from Over the Top for that week.
Yo,
To me, it just looks like
he's throwing like straight spares, straight shots, like with no remorse.
Smiley is a Drake write-off. I think he likes Smiley. He brought him out to LA. He lets him live a good life in LA. He records music. But I think he's just meant to be written off as a loss in the OVO Enterprises because this guy sucks musically. He seems like a great personality, very fun, very
Yeah.
smiley, very grateful. He also seems very polite. But the music is just not there. It is not there. I don't see it getting any better. And I don't see anybody asking for or talking about Smiley since this song dropped, or the couple of months after this song dropped. Drake was a feature on Wait For You, which was number 1,
That's the most
with
best song. I love
Future
that song.
and Thames.
Yeah,
We can't really
yeah,
say he gave
yeah.
either of those a stimulus
Yeah.
package. We can say he contributed to another number 1 song, which goes to show that his feature does mean something. The Thames sample, it made the song better. It made the song great. It's the most recognizable
definitely
part of the
did.
song,
It
you could
definitely
say,
did.
along with Future. But with this song have
Because for me, I just mostly listen to that part. Like, I could care less about the other part.
done as well, would this song have performed as well as it did had the Drake not only feature but the brand of Drake being on it not been attached to it? That's the question that I have to ask, and why I got to give him credit for helping this song go to number one. I think it might have still been a hit, but a number one, not entirely sure. Circling it back though to an up and coming artist that Drake decided to toss a feature was Churchill Downs with Jack Harlow.
I mean, mm, Tim's got her own motion. I really say it popped because of the singing part. That's what I said. That's just my opinion. Let me know what y'all think.
This song is a bit different than many of the others, considering Jack Harlow, unlike Smiley, Blockboy JB, hell, even Migos at the time, or Young Blue, or Draco the Ruler, even Lil Baby, he actually was an established poppin' rapper in the mainstream with multiple hits under his belt, such as What's Poppin' and First Class, just to name two. And even on his album, that left the public largely disappointed, the Churchill Downs song is the fourth most streamed track after First Class, Nail Tech, and Dua Lipa. But to be fair, this is a purely rap track. And it's been a long time.
I ain't been hearing too much about Jack Harlow. What's up with him?
Since we've seen a song like that top the charts. Song without a hook, considering how TikTok has shifted the music industry, including rap, into a more catchy meta. However, this song, culturally speaking, within hip hop and for actual rap fans, it made waves. They were already teasing a collaboration, constantly posting each other hanging out on social media, with this song actually leaking before the release. But this song may have done more harm to Jack Harlow than help. Drake washed him on it, and Jack Harlow attempting to do a Drake cosplay for the rest of his album and doing it subpar seemed more like a little brother getting WWE moves performed on him than him being helped and propelled to new heights. Some people will say, hey, mention Ice Spice and Munch. Drake didn't do an official remix of the song. For me to say that he gave her the stimulus package would mean I should have also included Yeet. I don't think
I definitely wonder how that would have sounded if he did hop on a remix. I wonder how he would have flowed on that.
Drake contributed much to Yeet's career. I'm honestly going to go ahead and say I don't think Drake contributed much to Ice Spice's career either. I would say he contributed more to Ice Spice than Yeet because the conversation around Ice Spice, just because she's a female that looks the way that she does, people are going to talk about it more. That Drake also flew her out and they were hanging out at a show and it was very public. And there's also the assumption that people have that there's some sort of acquaintance being had between them that they wouldn't assume with Yeet or any other male artist. So I will say perhaps he contributed there, but that song Munch was doing numbers anyway. It was going up. He just caught it before it took off to new heights. Yeah. Maybe he assisted in a little bit because people were talking about her more, but I can't, in good faith, say that Drake in any capacity gave her a stimulus package because he didn't hop on a song with her. So as we've seen, Drake's stimulus package is still a top tier thing to covet. Does it have the same effect that it once had? I mean, let's just look at Smiley, for instance. Smiley made worse music than Blockboy JB. Jack Harlow, I would say him being around Drake made him more popular. To the mainstream audience, I think they enjoyed him and his album. However, I think the actual rap fans started to look at Jack Harlow a little bit funny after he got washed on that track, and his album was piss poor, to say the least.
Yo, he throws straight shots with no.
I still think Drake stimulus package is as strong as it ever was. It's more difficult now to actually put someone on just considering the sheer number of artists, but a feature from him is still life-changing. That's the verdict that I'm going to put down. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do you think the Drake stimulus package is still as powerful as it once was? Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed.
Definitely shout out to him. I think the Drake stimulus package is always gonna be goated. You know what I'm saying? Because then it shows like, oh, you know what I'm saying, people is watching. That's what it shows. Like when it comes to that, it's not just the fact that it's Drake. It is, but at the same time, it's like, oh, that means people are watching like Drake. Like people like Drake are watching. You know what I'm saying? So definitely helps give people like a bump in their career and stuff like that. But I don't know if those rumors is true that Ice Spice wasn't feeling him, and no record came out because he did unfollow her. And nobody. She said she didn't even know why he unfollowed her. But with that being said, that's gonna wrap up all the videos. Appreciate y'all for all the support. Love is love. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video.